So in this recipe I used a kilo of sausage mince, a kilo of beef mince, a large tin of tomato soup and a cup of rice, whereas probably should have used a cup and a half, 2 cups of rice. So this is a pretty easy recipe to make. You add the meat and the rice in the bowl and mix that all together. So this is roughly the consistency that it should look like. Next, what I'm doing is just adding a small bit of tomato soup on the base of the slow cooker, just to help with any sticking. It just gives it a nice coating to start with. Now I'm starting to roll the porcupine balls out. I make them in sort of like an oval shape rather than a meatball shape. Then you place them into the slow cooker. So I keep putting the balls in until you make the first layer. After you do this, then you just add a bit more tomato soup just to cover a little bit to stop from sticking. Once you've put all the porcupine balls in, pour the remainder of your tomato soup. Just try to cover it all if you can. It's no big deal if it doesn't. Now it's time just to put your lid on and turn it on to high for at least 4 hours. Then come back and turn it down to low for another 2 hours because you want the rice to be cooked. And here it is when it's all ready. Now I forgot to count how many balls I actually made in this one, but you'll be able to gather by how many we actually dish up. Now here we are just cutting one open so that you can see what it looks like inside. And you can see all the little bits of rice. See what you think, Bonnie.
Oh, no. There you go. Try it. That tastes like childhood. Your turn.
My turn. Oh, it tastes also like winter.
That's good.
Not just childhood, but winter. It's not my childhood because they're different than my childhood.
But yummy?
Yummy. And here we go. There's all our dinner dished up. We had some mashed potato and some nice steamed greens on the side. Of course, you don't have to use this amount of ingredients. You could actually halve it. I just always cook for a big family. Now, this particular recipe is not one that I had growing up. This is what my children ended up growing up with, because we made the other recipe, which I'm about to show you, that I learnt from Mum. Now for the second version of porcupine balls. This is the one I had growing up. First of all, I just cooked some rice in the Thermomix. I cooked a lot more rice than I needed, but I halved the cooked rice and put some away in the fridge. And Bonnie repurposed that for some cream rice at home. Also, the other difference is this recipe Mum used to put into the oven to cook, not into a slow cooker. Hence is why the first recipe we made, because it was the big trend of slow cooker porcupine balls quite a few years ago. But this one usually goes in an oven, but because we don't have an oven at the moment, I used the slow cooker, and honestly it doesn't taste a lot different. Now I must say, in no way I have an affiliate link with Thermomix. I've never sold them. I've only ever purchased the one. But this is just one of the things, the tools in the kitchen that we need to use right now, and that we're using a lot more. When we purchased this, my husband used to joke that it was a very expensive rice cooker. I am venturing out a bit more and making a few more things in it. Now that the rice is ready, I've turned it out into a bowl and chopped it up. And as I said, I removed half of it, and I just allowed it to cool for a little bit. Now I'm moving on to making the porcupine balls. This time it's just a kilo of sausage meat, 2 small tins of tomato soup, and some boiled rice, and a little bit of plain flour. I pour 1 tin into the bowl, and just a little bit of the other tin into the bottom of the slow cooker. Now it's time to roll out the porcupine balls. I've just chopped up the mince just a little bit to make it easier to use with a scoop, because I'm using a little cookie scoop. and then just to get sort of roughly the same size balls. Now put them into the flour, and there's Mum. She's helping today. And after they go into the flour, they then get dipped into the soup. And once they get dipped into the soup, they then get rolled into the rice. Now, as you'll see, this recipe is different. One, because it's only got one lot of meat in it, but two, the rice is actually just on the outside, not on the inside. And in this one, we're using cooked rice, and the other one, we're using uncooked rice. Now, although you don't see Mum in the kitchen with us very often, she does love getting in the kitchen to help cook tea, prepare tea, and just relive some of her memories of the things that she loved making as well. Mum worked as a cook nearly her whole working life. Now she's just turned 80 and very proud that she's 80, so she won't mind me sharing that. I'm sure for Mum, she's extra proud of seeing not only that her own children can cook, but also her grandchildren now can cook just as well and still using her old recipes. Now, as you'll see, we've just layered the porcupine balls in the slow cooker, and Mum's just putting on the little bits of rice that was left, and we also then just cover it with what soup was left over as well. Now this one I also covered and put on for 4 hours on high and then 2 hours on low. I did actually give them a bit of a turnaround about halfway through though, just so they can get the soup all through better. Now I had another apprentice in the kitchen tonight, and that was Donnie. He wanted to learn how to make mashed potato in the Thermomix. One teaspoon salt. So 250 grams of milk. So in the I've already got way too much water for you.
Yeah.
So if you take first, but you just watch the weight.
Stop.
Yeah.
There's 125, that's what you want.
Yeah.
Perfect. And then your water. And if you haven't quite got enough water, you put more water or milk.
Don't pour it all in, just pour like a
Slowly.
bit and then stop. Just because the scale takes a couple of seconds to catch up. One more in.
That's how good a splash it was. Beautiful. Yep, next. So that.
That's the lid.
You
This
just
one?
gently put it on. And then you just give it a bit of a wriggle. And a bit of a, just make sure it's in place. But I've got that's the simmering basket. And this here is what the measuring cup is. So we want some steam to get out of it more, so we put the simmering basket on. You sit on top. Yep. And then press next. And it says
20.
turn
95.
speed to speed 1. So you turn this until it goes to 1 on this nozzle. On this. Keep going. Keep going. One more. 30. Cut back in 19 minutes when it's going. Dum, 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 this one. Beautiful. And all the rice that you can sort of see is on the edge, but there's also rice left in the sauce that you can put on top of it.
Yeah.
This particular night we had the mashed potato, and I made some sautéed cabbage, which I will make another day in a video to show you how to make it. It was very, very yummy.